being the observer of your thoughts. That's why you can't be your thoughts. You are the observer. That's where you start. You can watch a movie, but you'll never play those parts. You listen to a song and it can really touch your heart. Keep being the observer. That is your part. When you get a whiff, you'll feel a shift, and you can live. Feel the peace in the space you create, and let your awareness drift.
Welcome to week 10 and to part 4 of the Developing Consciousness course, Integration and Mastery. You spent 9 weeks learning powerful practices, observation, pattern work, energy management, ego transparency, surrender, transpersonal awareness, conscious attention, creating from wholeness, and discovering your purpose. Now comes the crucial question. How do you actually live this? How do you bring all of this into your daily life? Not just in meditation, but in the grocery store, in traffic, in difficult conversations, in ordinary moments. This is where many spiritual teachings fail. They create a split, spiritual practice over here and regular life over there. You meditate in the morning, then you're back to being unconscious the rest of the day. Jon Kabat-Zinn, who brought mindfulness into mainstream medicine, emphasizes that meditation is a way of being, not a doing. The real practice is living your life as if it really mattered, moment by moment. The formal practices are training. Life itself is where you apply the training. So this week, we're exploring meditation in action, not as something separate from life, but as life itself lived consciously. How do you stay awake in a world designed to keep you asleep? How do you maintain presence amidst constant distraction? How do you bring everything you've learned into the nitty-gritty reality of actual living? That's what we're addressing this week. Presence in action, part A. What presence actually means. Let's start with clarity about what we mean by presence. Mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. That's Jon Kabat-Zinn's definition, and it's precise. Paying attention, not scattered, not on autopilot, actually here. On purpose, deliberately, consciously, not accidentally. In the present moment, not lost in past or future, right here, right now. Non-judgmentally. Not evaluating everything as good, bad. Just witnessing what is. So presence means you're here, now, aware, without layering judgment onto experience. Sounds simple? But notice, how often are you actually present? Most people spend most of their time replaying the past, rehearsing the future, lost in thought, on autopilot, distracted by devices, anywhere but here. Kabat-Zinn describes the human condition. We're thinking virtually all the time, leaving us very little room to just be. Any moment in which we're not aware is essentially lost. Part B, formal versus informal practice. There are 2 aspects to consciousness work. Formal practice, dedicated time for meditation, contemplation, conscious practice, what you've been doing mornings throughout this course. Informal practice, bringing presence to ordinary activities throughout the day, washing dishes with presence, walking with awareness, eating mindfully, listening fully. Most people think the formal practice is the practice. But actually, the real practice is living your life as if it really mattered from moment to moment. The real practice is life itself. The formal practice is training ground. Life is where you deploy what you've learned. Think of it this way. If you practice piano scales every morning but never play actual music, you're missing the point. The scales develop capacity that allows you to play music. Same here. Morning meditation develops capacity. Daily life is where you play the music. Part C, the anchor points. So how do you stay present throughout the day when everything conspires to pull you into distraction? Well, you need anchor points, specific moments where you deliberately return to presence. Some examples are your breath. Breathe, always available. Any moment you can return to feeling breath. Body sensations, feet on floor, hands touching something. Body in space, always accessible. Where are my hands? Where are my feet? Where is my body? There are also transitions. For example, doorways, stopping at red lights, before meals, between tasks. Use transitions as reminders to come present. So when you walk through the door of the meeting, moment, transition, being present right now. There are also challenging moments. When stress hits, pause. 3 breaths. Come back to presence before reacting. And there are ordinary activities as well. 1 activity per day done with full presence, and washing the dishes, washing them, but you're here and you're doing it and you're aware of it. Walking, same thing. Eating, fully here for it. These anchor points throughout the day keep bringing you back. You'll drift. That's human. The practice is noticing you drifted and returning. Environmental design for consciousness. Creating triggers for awareness. Your environment either supports consciousness or undermines it. Most modern environments are designed for distraction, not awareness. So you need to consciously design environmental triggers that remind you to be present. Try physical reminders. Notes in visible places. Am I present right now? Objects placed strategically. Stone on the desk. Bracelet on your wrist. Phone alarms at random times. Where's your attention? Specific locations linked to practice. A meditation corner or a nature corner or nature spot. There are also digital boundaries. Phone, put it on grayscale. It reduces the addictive pull of colors. That's a new one, huh? Notifications off for non-essential apps. So all your games and those news reports, not really essential, you know? No phone in the first hour of your morning or the last hour before bed. And designated device-free times and spaces. Like we have a device-free space, and that is always at dinner. Nothing digital, no toys, no distractions allowed. We are there together. Routine anchors. Morning ritual before you go onto your device. True, our telephone is often now our alarm, but that doesn't mean turning off your alarm means you need to turn on Facebook or another social media platform or your phone at all. You turn off your alarm or you set snooze or whatever, but you can still get up and do something without engaging with the device. So a morning ritual before your devices, evening wind down practice, which is also nice. Some people have a cup of tea every night, or they sit and they think about the day, or they read a book that relaxes them. Or walking as meditation is also a possibility. Go for a walk in the evening before bed, but being present for it. You're essentially training yourself through environmental design, making it easier to remember, harder to forget. The habit architecture. You spent 9 weeks building new neural pathways, but without environmental support, old patterns will reassert themselves. So you need what James Clear calls habit stacking and environmental architecture. Try if-then triggers. When I walk through a doorway, I take one conscious breath. When I sit in my car, I pause before starting the engine. When I pick up my phone, I notice if it's conscious or compulsive. Make awareness easy. Make unconsciousness harder. So put your meditation cushion where you'll see it. Remove the temptations for autopilot behavior. Put your phone away. Leave it somewhere. Design your space to support being present. Make conscious choices the default and not the occasional random event. Morning anchors the day. How you start determines trajectory. If you begin with devices and distraction, you'll stay scattered. If you begin with presence, you set a different tone. This is why your morning practice matters so much, not just for that 15-20 minutes, but for establishing the state you'll return to all day. And your social environment. Your social environment also shapes consciousness. Who you spend time with matters. People operating on autopilot will pull you into autopilot. Someone picks up their phone, you pick up your phone. People living consciously will support your practice. People who pause before they answer you, you also pause before you answer. They will ask you active questions. You know that they're listening. This doesn't mean abandoning people, but it means being aware. Who supports consciousness? Who undermines it? Conscious conversations. Practice being fully present in conversation, not planning your response, not half listening while checking the phone. Actually hear, actually listening. Most people have never been truly listened to. When you offer that presence, it's a gift. Find community. If possible, connect with others doing this work, whether formally, meditation groups or courses, or informally, friends committed to consciousness. It's really cool. It's much easier to maintain practice when you're not alone in it. Common obstacles and solutions. For example, I don't have time. The most common excuse, I'd love to be more present, but I don't have time. Well, here's the truth. You don't have time not to be present. Being scattered and reactive takes more energy and is less effective than being present and responsive. Time spent in presence is more productive, not less. And you don't need hours. You need 15, 20 minutes of formal practice and multiple 10-second check-ins throughout the day. Bringing presence to activities you're doing anyway, that's what you need. You're already eating, you're already walking, you're working, talking. You're just doing them unconsciously. Same time investment, radically different quality. Another, my mind won't stop. I try to be present, but my mind keeps wandering. What's wrong with me? Nothing. That's what minds do. The practice is not stopping thoughts, it's noticing when you've been lost in thought and returning to presence. Every return is the practice. You'll do it thousands of times. That's not failure, that's training. As Kabat-Zinn teaches, thoughts self-liberate when touched by awareness, moving beyond our story in direct experience. That's the point. Moving beyond our story into direct experience. So stop the movie and come here and watch life. It feels fake or forced. When I try to be present, it feels artificial, like I'm performing presence rather than actually being present. This is a phase. Initially, conscious presence does feel effortful because you're interrupting decades of autopilot. With practice, presence becomes more natural. You're not trying to be present, you just are. The effort decreases, the naturalness increases. That's practice. But trust the process. Keep practicing. The awkwardness passes. It always does. I keep forgetting. Yes. I set intentions to be more present, but hours pass and I realize I have been on autopilot the whole time. Normal. Your habitual patterns are strong. You've been operating unconsciously for decades. And what are some solutions maybe? Well, more environmental triggers. I'll set alarms, create reminders, write notes to yourself. And, create smaller goals. One activity per day, fully present, not all day. That can give you the sense of being tired. Self-compassion. I say, don't judge the forgetting. Just notice and return. It's hard to not judge ourselves, as we do it all the time. We've been taught to do it all the time. And also, accountability. You need maybe a practice partner or a community or some form of tracking that will also help support you. The goal isn't perfection. It's increasing the percentage of time you're aware. Even small increases matter. My life circumstances make this impossible. I have young kids, demanding job, chronic illness. I can't maintain presence. I understand. And yet, presence is available even in challenging circumstances, sometimes especially in challenging circumstances. If you're not accustomed to being present during challenging circumstances, then it can feel very uncomfortable and make challenging circumstances even more uncomfortable and more challenging if you're not accustomed to being present. Challenging circumstances require presence. You might not be able to do long formal practices, but you can take 3 conscious breaths multiple times daily. That's not even 15 seconds. You can be present for one activity, even if it's just washing the dishes or walking down the stairs. You can bring awareness to difficulty itself. So when things are difficult, become aware of it. What am I feeling? What am I doing here? Who am I at this moment? Practice presence with your children. Be there with them. Try to really hear them. Try to really be there for them. Find, or even if you're just there for yourself, just be there for yourself to see them, really see them. And find these micro moments throughout the day. You can do this. Presence adapts to your life. It's not about having ideal conditions. It's about working with what is. Frequently asked questions. Frequently asked question number 1. How do I maintain presence at work in a distracting environment? Micro practices throughout the day. Start your workday with 5 minutes of presence before opening your email. Try to take 3 conscious breaths before meetings. And also set hourly reminders to check, am I present? Am I present? 1 task per day done with full presence. In that sense, you might need more silence for yourself in the beginning, or maybe you need a routine to build up this, but try it. And use breaks for presence practice, not more distraction. So when you take your break, go and be present, which means that you don't have to go meditate, but you need to just be aware of maybe a new crack in the ground. Oh, I didn't see that before. See, that's being present. Notice things. Be present. Don't judge it. Don't say the building is falling apart, there's a crack. No, there's a crack in the ground. You end your workday with 5 minutes of release. Create a transition for yourself so that you're not bringing your work home or the stress of your work. You're not carrying it with you. You won't be present all day. Aim for moments of presence throughout the day. Frequently asked question number 2. What about relationships? My partner isn't interested in consciousness work. You practice regardless of whether they do. Your presence benefits the relationship whether or not they're consciously practicing. When you're present, you listen better, you react less, and you respond more wisely. Don't make your practice contingent on their participation. Don't evangelize or try to fix them. Just practice and let the results speak. Often, your shifts create space for them to shift too, but that's not why you do it. Frequently asked question number 3. I feel like I'm always monitoring myself now. Is that the point? No. That's self-consciousness, not consciousness. There's a difference between self-consciousness, always watching yourself, performing, judging, that kind of stuff. Conscious, simply aware, present, not separate from experience. If you're constantly monitoring, you're creating a new form of ego activity. That's not the goal. The goal is presence without separation, being fully here without a watcher evaluating everything. The observer, not the watcher. With practice, this distinction becomes clearer. So, frequently asked question number 4, how do I handle presence practice when I'm really stressed or overwhelmed? Those are the most important moments to practice. When you're stressed, the pattern is to abandon presence and contract into reactivity. You can feel it. Your stomach knots up, your shoulders hunch. But that's exactly when you most need to pause and come back and be present. 3 breaths. Feel your body. Notice thoughts without believing them. And respond from awareness rather than reacting from pattern. Sometimes the most you can do is notice. I'm stressed and reactive right now. That's still presence. Frequently asked question number 5. After 10 weeks, shouldn't I be more enlightened by now? This is a lifelong practice, not a 10-week fix. You're building capacity that will deepen for the rest of your life. You're not supposed to be finished now. What you should notice after 10 weeks is an increased capacity to observe rather than identify with thoughts. You should be able to also have more frequent moments of presence. You should also have the ability to shift state more quickly. You should have greater access to choice rather than automatic reaction, giving yourself more space by being present. You should have a deepening sense of what you're here to contribute. But this is foundational training, not completion. You're just beginning. So here's what I want you to understand as we close. Everything you've learned in this course only matters if you can bring it into actual living. Meditation is wonderful, but if it doesn't change how you show up in your life, how you respond to stress, how you're present with loved ones, how you work, how you contribute, then it's just a pleasant hobby. The real practice is living your life as if it really mattered, because it does. This moment, this conversation, this task, this breath. So, this week's assignments. Daily practice. In the morning, 20 minutes formal practice. Whatever supports presence for you throughout the day. And throughout the day, I want you to presence check-ins at design trigger points. Figure out when it works for you or when it doesn't work for you. Actually, those are the moments when you probably need it the most, when it's not convenient. And in the evening, review where you were present and also where you forgot. Environmental design. Set up physical, digital, and routine triggers for awareness. One activity, fully present. Each day, one ordinary activity. Ordinary activity, washing dishes, vacuuming, walking the dog's a great one. One ordinary activity done with complete presence. And presence tracking. Track your percentage of the day. You estimate your present versus on autopilot. In the beginning, I'm expecting that most of the higher percentages will be for autopilot. And a social practice. Practice being fully present in one conversation every day. Fully. That means that you're really listening to everything what the person is saying to you. Not just with words, but with eye contact, and also what is their body language saying. Don't judge it. Just try to understand what it is that you see. Without judgment. Observe it. I notice your arms are crossed. I notice that they're fidgeting. I notice that they can't maintain eye contact. Okay. Next week, we'll explore relationships as spiritual practice. How other people become your greatest teachers and mirrors. But this week, focus on bringing everything you've learned into the actual moments of your actual life. Because presence is not somewhere else. It's not in some future state of enlightenment. It's available right now, in this moment, wherever you are. I'll see you next week, and ciao.
Being the observer of your thoughts, that's why you can't be your thoughts. You are the observer, that's where you start. You can watch a movie, but you never play those parts. You listen to a song and it can really touch your heart. Keep being the observer, that is your part. When you get a whiff, you'll feel a shift, and you can lift. Feel the peace in the space you create, and let your awareness drift. Like waves upon the shore, they come and go. These thoughts arise and then they flow. Step back and watch the mind's sweet show. In stillness lies the deepest truth. Beyond the mind there's living proof that peace resides in letting loose. Just breathe and be, that's all it takes. Watch as each thought gently breaks. In silent wisdom, awareness waits. You can watch a movie, but you never play those parts. You listen to a song and it can really touch your heart. Keep being the observer. That is your